Today, take a look at the big 72-inch metal ceiling fan with lights in black. So we got our instructions, and they do appear to be very detailed instructions, which is excellent. So it looks like nicely organized foam in here, so we don't have to worry about anything getting damaged. We do have two different lengths in Downrod, so if you have a taller ceiling, we can accommodate that. That is about 19.5 inches, and a shorter ceiling, about 8 inches. That is going to be the one that I'm using. This is kind of nice to actually have our ground wire pre-attached to that Downrod. Here is our blades. This is one of the more interesting things about this fan. This is actually an 8-blade fan. Most fans these days have about 5 or even 3 blades. The more blades you have means the less the motor is going to have to work to push more air, so an 8-blade fan is going to be an excellent option. I get a lot of requests to do fans. I turn down most of them because most of them I don't like. This is one that I actually want to have installed. We got some kind of clip. We have got, it looks like blade weights. And we have a small bag of hardware, which looks like it includes some gloves. Here is our light kit. Oh, that's interesting. That is actually a magnetic light kit. I've never seen one like that. But that does give you a lot of versatility whenever you're installing this. One thing I really like seeing here is that each LED actually has its own individual lens. So it's going to help to amplify and spread out that light so that it can get diffused nice and cleanly. Here's our wiring. We actually have a remote with this guy. This appears to be mounting for our blades. That has a very nice look to it. Here is our motor. This one does actually have a pretty decent weight to it. And we can see we got our spot for our Downrod as well as our wiring. One of the nice things about this is it looks like these are just push pins. So all we got to do to connect these together is push them together. We do have a safety cable with this, which is excellent. You don't have to worry about the ceiling fan coming down on us. Here's our flange. Here is our top flange, and this also has the mounting bracket that's going to go to the ceiling. And then it looks like all of our blade mounts are just going to be separated right here in the corner. I do appreciate that they have those individually packed with foam in between them. Now I want a Downrod that's even shorter than that. I'm looking for 5 inches. There we go. So that's going to be basically about as short as I can possibly get it. So it's going to take off about 3 inches from the short Downrod, and that way hopefully I'll still have enough room with this being cut at this length, or I can still fit my fingers in there and wire this guy up. So you can see the top and the bottom look similar. The difference is the one we need is going to have this extra little hole right here. So this one is 5 inches. So we need to drill a couple holes in here. We need to deburr everything because we don't want to cut any of our wires. And we want to paint it so that we make sure we don't have any rust. Color doesn't really matter, you just want to get something on there to protect it. So we're going to take our pipe that does not have the extra hole to the side that we just cut. That is the side that we're going to feed all the wires in from. And sitting there. And we line up the hole, drop in our pin. Careful not to pinch any of the wires. And then on the other side we got a cotter pin. And that will hold the pin in place. So to make it a little bit better, we're going to tighten all 3 of these screws up, and that's going to pinch the outside of the pipe. And then we can drop our bottom flange, our top flange, and our top support. So the support is just going to sit on a pin right there. Then we're going to attach our ground, and that is going to screw into that tiny hole on the pipe. That's why we need to leave that hole there. If we don't have that hole, it's okay. You can still screw another one in. You might have to use a self-drilling screw. It's probably not a good idea to use that just because you don't want to risk damaging the wire, but that will hold itself in place. So while we're here, we can attach our wires. So just match up the colors. We got white to white. Sometimes you got to wiggle them a little bit to get them to fit. Blue to blue, red, gray, and pink. So that is most of the wiring already done. We just got these 3 wires left. One thing I appreciate seeing is that they actually have these color-coded for the US. So we got black, white, and green. Sometimes they do blues and browns and all kinds of weird stuff. So I'm going to connect to the house right here on the left side. I'm going to have my box stuffed in on the right side. I'm going to wrap the safety strap onto the center post on that bracket. So they did include wire nuts just like this. I don't like using those when we go from solid core to stranded because it is hard to get a good bite on both at the same time. So I'm going to use Wagos, just your regular 221s. So you flip up the levers, stick in your wire, and clip it down. It's that easy. The white connects to white. Black connects to black. And green connects to your bare copper wire. That is the ground. So that's the hard part. That's the wiring. This is not a very difficult thing to do. You do want to try to stuff that back up into the electrical box. So that means we don't want to stuff those in here. We want to stuff those up into the box. There we go. And the rest of the wire we want to try to stuff in by that box. There's not a lot of room to work. So these are actually just little caps that go on the end, so that way you don't have just a piece of metal whipping around the top of your room, which is a smart idea. And those are going to screw in with some tiny little screws. Now, in the instructions, they did say that we should put the fan together first and then put it up. I'm doing that backwards just because I find that this way is easier. And they did give us a bunch of extras just in case we lose them. So these holders came with these plates already on them, so we don't have to worry about finding them. Just drop the blade on and screw them in. You want to make sure that this rib is facing up. And you'll feel those get tight. So we make 4 like that, and then we can install it. Did it accidentally though. Okay, breaker is back on. Let's turn on the fan. So I'm just going to hit 1. Okay. Nice and quiet, and that is pushing a remarkable amount of air for being on speed 1. Here's speed 2. Okay. I can feel that even in the doorway. Let's just go to max speed. All right. There's a light. So we got cool white and we got warm white. And I also forgot to mention that is reversible. There you go. So that's good for helping to keep warm in the winter, cool in the summer. So yeah. Well, it's a very nice fan.